This podcast is rated E for explicit.
I'm not looking to settle down. We can hang out, we can do our thing, but I'm not trying to go exclusive.
I played priest to a fuckboy with many tales to tell.
But obviously, you can tell someone's catching feelings for you. Mm-hmm. But you're also like, well, I like you.
And it seems,
but I don't know if I like you enough to where I can just give up what I'm doing.
His confessions,
that's where the fuckboy tendencies start coming in at.
Opened the gates of hell.
It's a dirty game. Mm-hmm. And that's what it is, because feelings don't get spared if you're out here.
Tales of his schemes poured like gasoline into the dens we dwell.
If each of these persons are getting their needs met, what's the danger or problem here?
The board has assembled with fire in their eyes to dismantle the character of all fuckboys and bring them down to size.
I know that you're not getting it regularly. I know you're not, because if you were constantly getting all this sex, you wouldn't have the opportunity to pull multiple women.
I also don't think it's a problem if your needs are being met and there is a conversation about it. You don't know. You might have met me. I just got out of a relationship, and you know what? All I really want is a fuck buddy.
If you are a fuckboy, you might want to read these files, or at least take a listen to what has been realized.
Seducing her and tricking her is the fun part.
That's too much work, in my opinion.
If you feel like you're sweating, you might want to check these dials.
So you don't have what it takes to be a fuckboy?
No, I don't. I don't have what it takes to not be myself.
Because the heat that you're getting is not from these Georgia skies.
This is what I want to do. This is what I'm willing to explore. You want to ride with me on that?
I really have a hard time putting him squarely in the fuckboy box. I feel like he's either on the way out of it. There's just way too much carry in what he's saying.
Respectfully, I think it's therapy that's needed in
You met me in the midst of many things. Shedding skin, sprout wings, looking at life as a spiritual being through a human lens, having conversations with God about so many things. This show is your invitation. The poet God is the conversation.
I've had an exit interview or two in my time where my manager shared their thoughts and I shared mine. In my case, I was asked to stay, but I declined. Sometimes it's better to go your way for peace of mind. But in this exit interview, I think you'll find that it's probably not what a fuckboy had in mind. And who better to conduct such an interview other than the fuck girl he tried to pursue? This is where the board and I begun this conversation with our theory of what took place in this assignation. When we got to the conversation about the opposite sex and when he comes across the fuck girl and realizes that, okay, I can pull her into my arsenal so that I could get some intel on how to tackle
Try
the
and
other
bench
side.
a fuck girl. Okay.
Try that. I'm going to tell you 100%. I feel like he didn't pull the fuck girl because the fuck girl didn't want to fuck around with his bullshit.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. Because she peeped his game. She like, you ain't coming with shit.
Right.
Fuck out of here. Like, I'm not dealing with that. You seem cool. We can hang out because maybe I had a good time hanging out with you, but we're not doing this because you aren't at the level that I want.
Now, have you ever swiped right on the female version of you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. But you know what, though? Like, I can spot them out. I'd be like, it's called reverse psychology because there's certain lines that she'll say. I'd be like, wait a minute, no, you don't tell me that. I'll tell you that. It's like the movie Boomerang. You seen the movie Boomerang?
I think so.
Eddie Murphy?
I think it's been a minute. Yeah, I think
he met his match and he was just, he was digging her because it was the female version of him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You always, it's like, yo, like in a way that's kind of sexy, because it's like, well, you understand how the game go.
Right.
Yeah. So, but they can also figure out when they're dealing with a fuckboy also, and that could be cool, but then also could be like, you know what? We need to go our separate ways because we're too much alike.
For him, it's like, oh, I put it to the side because no, you didn't have that control that you wanted. Because she was more of a professional at your own game.
Also, his entire framing of dating just worries me. It's always about war and competition and it's a tussle. And it's like, you go in with this mindset, you set the stage for deceitful behavior, underhanded tactics. Like, It from the very basis of all of this, it's all wrong, and it frustrates me. Like listening to that is like that.
Yeah, because he was talking about what he thought women wanted. He was like, I realized that women want power, women want money, women want this, and women want that. Who told you that?
But that's
what
why
woman told you that.
But that's why he presents himself again. This is why he has this resume, right? That's why it is I have this education. I carry myself this way. I have this sort of money that I make, right? Because I've heard or I've been told this is what y'all want. So this is what I'm going to present to you.
Right.
And, I got to put on my clown face today because you want a clown today. So let me come at you as a clown. Yes.
I just want to know, like, how is he, like, where is he getting his game from? Is it like TV?
50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey. You know what I mean? Like, where are you getting it from? A Tyler Perry play? Like,
So, do you think it's like betrayal for a woman if this in fact happened, as he said, his female compadres to say, "Hey, this is how you get her," use this tactic on these females, because that's what I was trying to get out of him, and he was like, that is part of the game.
Do they discuss methodology, tactics, and stuff like that?
Yeah, and I said, and I was like, well, she's betraying her sex, isn't it? Isn't she? If that's what she's doing?
If it is true, they're two of the same kind, right? So the thing isn't the kind that they're protecting or their people are going to be these fuck people, right? Because the goal is to one up whoever you're dealing with, right? So she's not going to partner with protecting women if that's the case. Her thing is how do you get what you want? Let me help you. So you also, I'm going to help you so you can help me, because the goal is for you to tell me what I need to do to get these dudes as well. Right. So I still think that in that space, it is about themselves, and it is about what can I use to leverage you to help myself at the end of the day.
Yeah. I guess it does look extra bad when, like, you're a woman who is enabling this sort of behavior, but the person harms other women. Fundamentally, it's just you're just a bad person, and you're betraying people on a human level, because as much as people maybe go around thinking I don't owe anyone anything, any sort of decency, I think as human beings, if we're going to exist in society and make it work, you owe each other a certain degree of respect and consideration.
Absolutely.
And so just on a human level, it's just awful to enable someone harm other people. That doesn't make any sense to me.
I think he's very sensitive to how women are treating him. Yeah. If he perceives any kind of like they're dismissing him, then he quickly dismisses them. Like if they're not enthusiastic about anything that he says, then he realizes like, okay, maybe I need to add another person because this one's on her way out. She's hip to the game. She's realizing, or something about her is changing towards me.
100%.
So I need to just move on to another person. And he frames it as like, I'm moving on. But what you're really saying is like, she's no longer feeding the validation that you need.
Because even to bring that point, right? He talks about like, oh yeah, I've conducted many exit interviews, right? And to say, to say some shit like that, like
I'm sure they didn't know it was an exit interview. I'm sure. He was just like, how did I do? Did you come? That's his version of an exit interview.
But even to say like, I've conducted many exit interviews, like that is you saying like, I've ended this, right? Because an exit interview is, and a job is, we've let you go. You don't conduct an exit interview for somebody that said, I'm leaving this place, right? So he is literally like, no, I cut all of this off. This is on me. Mm-hmm. I've shut all of this down.
Right.
So I agree with you for sure.
Right. But I really want to know, like, are you really open to your feedback that you're getting from these exit interviews? No, supposedly.
The only feedback he's gotten is the fact that he's not paying them that much attention.
Okay.
Respectfully, I'm sure somebody was like, your dick ain't shit. And he's like, that's why I'm dead in your ass anyway. Like,
right.
Oh, man.
Right.
Oh my gosh, y'all are wearing me out.
She probably was like, the sex isn't that great for this kind of attitude that I'm getting from you. 100%. Like you're constantly making me chase you. And when I catch you, I'm not getting what I'm expecting,
Correct.
Like I'm expecting a prize.
Yeah.
When I win, I'm not getting that.
I'm not getting it.
Right.
You know what's also funny is that I had a conversation with some of my other friends, my straight friends, and they've expressed to me that they don't, if they have bad sex with men, they don't normally say it though. So honestly, if I even step into that conversation, there's a huge chance that he doesn't know that he has bad sex because none of these women have told him that.
Well, I can tell you, it's very easy to tell if you're doing the sex bad. Because he thinks that there's some magic button that, oh, well, I just didn't hit her button. No, you didn't do it right. You didn't do it right. Like,
or you fake
you're
it.
Expecting like there's like, oh, I just need to get deep enough in order to hit this magic button. And I'm like, do you not know how sex works? Do you not know that there are like thousands of endings, like on the outside of the vagina,
but do you
like
really
penetrative sex doesn't really do it?
But to ask you a real question, do you even think that he's worried about that? Because he's probably just worried about getting his own nut, and once he gets that, he's like, hope you got there because I did. Exit interview. Right.
It's all about him.
I just say exit interview.
See, nobody can say shit to me after sex because now I'm thinking exit interview in my mind.
There's this porn star. Well, the star part might be an embellishment. But and I said that because I'm talking to Calvin and he always checks me with that part. But the guy always says deeper, deeper. And he's like, but wait, there's nothing left. And you keep saying deeper. There's nothing else left.
That is truly disrespectful.
Right.
Like they can grow another inch. That's so disrespectful.
So cruel.
That is cruel.
And it is cruel when you damn well know there's nothing else left. And you keep talking about deeper, deeper. What the fuck is wrong with you?
My side is hurting so bad right now.
It's like my hits are hitting your ass. Oh my God. The disrespect.
I might have to put 2 E's at the beginning of this episode for extra.
I was just going to say, this is going to be like, you need to definitely have the E on this one. For real. Especially with these talks of exit interviews.
That is the best. But I'm like, truly, like if you're even doing that, then you know that there was room for improvement and that you didn't do what you needed to do. You know what I mean? Like if you handle your business, you know you did.
Right at that moment.
But I also wonder, like full on thought, if he is having sex with multiple women, but maybe like once or twice, you're not learning.
Oh, that's good.
You're not learning.
No, because if you're really in a relationship where you're having a lot of sex with someone, you're doing different positions, different things, you're playing, you're experimenting. Right. If you're not having that level of intimacy, you're not doing the sex like that.
No.
So that means you are just doing the basic one-off porn moves. You know what I mean? And that
you done got her up and spun her around and
like, you know, and she's obviously like, where did he get this? He saw this in a porno? Like, my back is killing me. Like, what the fuck is this? And he's thinking like, I hit that. But women love this. Yeah. I saw him do it. And I'm like, what?
So I have a different perspective because I think that that's a valid statement there. But in my experience, the way that I knew fuckboyism was going on in my household was because I learned a whole bunch from sleeping with the same person.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No. From what he learned
from the other people,
from all of his other activities.
But you still picked it up because it was multiple times. So I'm not.
I see what you're saying.
I'm not saying that you can't learn things
over time. Yes.
But just imagine, right? So if every time you do something, it's completely new. You've never retained anything that really worked out well.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Because you didn't stay with it long enough.
Oh,
because when you are with someone and you're intimate with them, you learn their likes and dislikes.
So what you're saying,
you do other stuff because you know this person doesn't like this, so let me do something else. But you can't just go to a new stranger and be like, let me put it in your butt. You know? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, you can.
Wait a minute, she didn't take it back.
I did take it back. I do take it back. You know what I mean?
She's like, I'm sorry. Yes, you can.
Wrong choice of words. Wrong choice of words.
So
what I mean is like you just don't come out with the extreme stuff right away because you don't know.
Scare somebody.
Right. Yeah. Right. They're going to be like,
that's a good
you want me to wear a clown suit and do what now? Like you don't do it.
I think it's a good perspective because I think growth is a thing, right? And I have to say though, y'all have made me understand something that I've had in the back of my head for a while is that I actually truly benefited from my ex being a fuckboy. I learned a whole bunch of stuff I wouldn't have learned otherwise, right? Yeah. Because I'm not sleeping with a whole bunch of people, but I'm learning all those things as if I were. Mm-hmm. But I can also imagine that being a fuckboy, if you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, then you really aren't bringing any value.
Correct. Well, I mean, to come back. So one of my notes was just that the location allowed this gentleman to thrive because I do think demographics, coming from Chicago, I think that the demographics that he was around didn't allow him to get the quote unquote play that he got to put himself in a position to do these things. I think that he probably grew up there. People knew who he was growing up and looked at him as, this is who you are. You're this quiet guy. You're this nerd or whatever they looked at him. And then him being able to move down south, it's like, oh, who's this new guy? Where are you from? Chicago. Oh my God, you're from Chicago. Mm-hmm. And just like it was a way to start to hype him up in the sense of now he could play these characters because people before knew him. He couldn't be a character. They already knew him. But in a space that nobody knows you, you get to choose now who you are.
I mean, I think I think he said it started getting the attention when he worked in the call center, but after he got out of his relationship, I'm assuming he got divorced.
I don't think he ever said he got married.
Yeah, I think it was just a relationship.
Oh, I thought he said he was married.
I don't remember him saying he was married.
Yeah, because he said he started to get wandering eyes in that relationship.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So anyway, but it was you're right, only when he moved
Correct.
to a different area, then he started to actually explore what that looks like.
Correct. And I think he only had wandering eyes, if I'm real. I think that he had wandering eyes because he never got that sort of attention. Right. And it's not a, hey, it's okay that it happened that way, but it is a thing of, you know, the fact that that attention never came. It was just like, I wonder what this looks like on this other side.
Gotcha.
Right. And it was, I'm willing to explore this because I've never seen it. It was a wonder. I've never had this. I want to experience this. And that is like what set the precedence for all of this.
I mean, you can always go into areas where you're not wanted, you know, and then you move into an area where you are wanted and all of a sudden everybody is attracted to you. How you act accordingly, though, is if you're just like, oh, now everybody wants me. Let me be a complete asshole. You know, like, what does that say about you? Like, you could be the same person that you were, regardless of whether people want you or not. You know, you just don't have to be like, well, nobody liked me before, so now I get to be an asshole. No, you don't get to do that. I think like the best part was the point that the girl made, like you can't love a fuckboy out of their issues. Mm-hmm. They're always going to have these need for validation and attention, and you can give them all the love and that you want to, and they're still going to think you're stupid for giving them that love. But it's like, why would you? Because I was the biggest whore out there.
Because the issue was that he didn't get this attention at an earlier age. So once it was exposed, it was, I'm running with this.
Right. But nobody owes you any attention at any age. Like you just feel resentment for these people for not recognizing you for the wonderful person that you were when you were quiet. And I mean, like, I don't know, maybe you were just giving off creepy vibes at that time, you know, like maybe that's why, or maybe they were shy too. Like maybe not everybody's out there running for relationships at that age.
No, for sure.
So all of a sudden you come to an age where, you know, everybody's willing to explore and they're willing to give you some attention. And now you turn that around and to be like, well, let me just experiment with all of you.
That line, by the way, that you referenced from the young lady really resonated with me. That's why I wanted to put it in there. But because I think not just in this context of the fuckboy conversation, but I think different people in different aspects of life have that lie, I guess, for lack of a better word, that they can love people out of their dysfunction.
Yeah.
And
I think he tricks some of these women into thinking like, if you give me more attention, if you do give me more love, then I wouldn't need to look elsewhere. But the truth is he's always going to be looking elsewhere. He's always going to be like, she's pretty.
I wish you were around 20 years ago.
When I needed to. I was dumb in my 20s. Like, I would have completely given dudes $500. You know, talking about help me get my money back.
Yeah. For me, in his thing, he's always going to want and look outside because, again, his confidence, he doesn't have self-confidence. His confidence is built on the perception of others. And because of that, he needs multiple people pouring into his cup. That is what is going to help him. So one person is not enough. And It seems like it will never be enough because he has to, you know, again, it's going to start within. Once he feels that about himself, there's no longer the need of reassurance outside, but he needs that reassurance because he doesn't have it.
Well,
that's interesting too, because the young lady again said something about the emptiness, that one of the characteristics of a fuckboy is that he's empty inside, which goes into what you're saying. He needs all of these people around him to pour into his empty cup so he can feel.
He can move to another city and decide, well, I want to be in a relationship now. I want to lean into that nice guy and I want to be, you know, loyal, or I want a loyal partner. But eventually he's going to be like, I need more validation than what this one person's giving me. It's not enough. I need more. And so he's going to go back to his same ways.
Mm-hmm. What if this is giving him a chemical stimuli?
Yes, like an addiction.
No, yeah, for sure. it is a high, which is why I think that a lot of people like the chase, which is, it goes back to can't have sex on the first night. It has to be this time period and things of that nature. When I reach out to you, I want you to be ready. All of that plays into it. It still bounces back to, in my opinion, just a matter of self-confidence, right? Because to me, if I'm confident enough or I feel like I'm good enough for people to want to be with me, if I'm engaging with a couple of people and one person doesn't want to hang out with me, I'm not going to be like, well, fuck you. You're out of here. Like, I'm not going to take it that serious.
Right.
I wouldn't even care. I'd be like, all right, well, maybe some other time. And then still reach out to somebody else if I still wanted to do something. But I'm not going to take it so personal that now it's like you've done the worst thing in the world and now I'm shunning you from everything.
Right. You're a homie now.
Right.
The funny thing about that whole thing too is as you were explaining the whole power dynamic, and as he said with the chemical stimulation, I'm thinking about it, and this is a little bit of a aside, but in scenarios where if it's a same sex situation and one of the dudes is the pursuer, and then the one who's being pursued switches it up on him, however he does it. Now it's like, what are you doing? You know, it takes the fun out of it for them. It's like, why are you acting like a man?
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, but okay. You're like, what do you do with that? It's confusing sometimes.
But I think that's, in that same example, that's his example with meeting the female version of him. Mm-hmm. Because now exactly. It's like, oh, you giving me this energy? Nah, you can't do that. Like,
you're a homie.
Right. No, I'm the dude. Like, I'm supposed to run this game on you, not you on me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
We'll be right back after these messages. Have you ever felt like traditional or religious ideas surrounding monogamy or marriage are out of date or unrealistic? Well, you're not alone in that.
We started really defining what our marriage was to us, as opposed to like, hey, you got a ring, so that means he's got some. I've seen people with these MacGuffins of marriage, of love, right? That's what I'm gonna call it, right? Like, you got the ring, you got this, and they still dishonor it.
After watching Showtime's The Affair and Netflix's Sex Life, I was like, who can I talk to about this? And I thought my friend Dante, who's married with children, would be the perfect person to have this conversation with. Hey, Dante, do you remember that question that I asked you?
Yeah, I got that on deck. Because I've been watching a series called The Affair that's been interesting on many levels. Have you ever felt like traditional/religious ideas of monogamy are outdated or out of step with the needs of humanity?
Yeah, I know it's a heavy question.
Nah, I was like...
And apparently, he thought so too.
Finally, somebody going to ask me this question.
So guess what? That's just what we're about to do. Listen to Sexually Speaking, Season 4, Episode 5. Since podcast apps are up to tricks, subscribe directly with us at thepoetgod.com, because these these apps ain't loyal. So subscribe with us at thepoetgod.com and put these notification problems in the soil. Did you guys believe his answer to the question when I asked if he talked about if you start catching feelings?
This is what it is. If you find yourself like getting attached or things like that, you know, communicate, because there's a strong possibility like I may feel the same way too.
Mm-hmm. No,
that's a lie.
That's a bold
that he told. So they would be open with their feelings, and the minute that they're open with their feelings, dismissal.
Respectfully, he is doing that because he wants to be in control. So he wants to understand how deep your feelings are, to understand if he can keep stringing you along, or if it's at this point that I have to cut you off. Because if your feelings are so deep and now you're really pushing, let me meet your friends, let me meet your family. There's but so many times that I can tell you, no, I'm busy, I'm out of town, I can't do this.
Right.
I have to, at that point, I gotta know to cut you off. I don't think that it is fully like, oh, I might have feelings too. Because even if that is the case, you've now had somebody catch feelings for somebody that's not even you, because you've been a chameleon this whole time. You're presenting something that you think that they want. How can you really hold on a substantial relationship when what you presented is a representative for somebody else, not even you?
And he's just using that as an excuse to figure out, how can I make them catch feelings faster?
Correct.
Like, do what I did to this girl. She caught feelings real quick, and now I know what to do. I do those things that I did to this girl. I pretend in that way. I cut her loose because now, she's no longer needed. But she gave me valuable information on like the things that I did in order to get to where I wanted to be.
With the exit interview.
The exit interview, yes. He was like, well, I didn't hit that magic spot, but I did other things that made her fall in love,
I think some people in a relationship, so they're hanging out, they're having a good time and everything. One person's catching feelings, but they're afraid to verbalize that because afraid that it will change the dynamic of what we're continuing to do.
Right.
And then it would stop everything else. So I'm comfortable with what we have, but I'm not going to let you know how I really feel because I'm fearful it will stop everything. Stop this.
Right.
And I have to say with that question, I was surprised by the answer too, because the whole first part, let me know when you have feelings. So the response that came, I was like, that's not what's supposed to be next. It's supposed to be so I can cut you off, not so I can tell you that I have feelings too. No, what's wrong with this? Because I feel like, that there is definitely, just like Carla said, that's the cue that it's time to let you go.
Well, how does he feel he's going to get the third person for his throuple if he doesn't invest in securing his first partner?
But I have another thought too. What if he's being honest? Mm-hmm. What if he's a person who he is afraid to be the one to verbalize his feelings because of rejection?
Right.
That's a great
So
point.
he's waiting for them to verbalize it for him so he can then be in agreement. Because if he verbalizes it and it's not reciprocal, it's hurtful for him.
You're right. No, I believe that. I believe that 100% in this particular situation, but it still just doesn't coincide with you carrying out multiple relationships at the same time, right? Think about it really, like, hey, just, let me know that you like me. I got 6 other on the side, but let me know that you like me. Like, it is, for lack of a better term, it just feels like an oxymoron. Like, you don't really care in that sense to continue this, because if that was the case, you also will start to dim the light on all these other quote unquote relationships that you're having.
Because if you let me know that you like me, I might move you up in the line, because there's a line.
Right.
So
yeah.
You might get moved up.
You're right.
Star player, not your bench.
Right. You got to move from 6 to 2, 8 to 2.
But to go back to your point, he can't do that because of his confidence level. Because what you're saying is he's confident enough that even if he admits this and that is not reciprocal, he will be okay, but he will not be.
Yeah.
So he can't dim this number because the rejection part is going to be there for him. So I don't think he can.
You're right. He has to keep his back up.
I just want him to be honest about his roster, like the caliber.
Wait a minute, when you say honest to who?
I think honestly though, if we were ever to have the opportunity to see what the roster looked like and be like, this don't even need to be the roster.
That is so cool.
Respectfully.
I think I'm going to name this episode Respectfully.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Oh.
But I just resent the whole, like, there's a spot that you can hit that makes women go dumb. I'm like, please
Which
don't.
is what, but
have you ever had a relationship, dude?
that's what
Like,
really makes me
come
feel
on.
like I'm never going to find out because I'm not intrigued, but that is genuinely what makes me feel like he is not doing well in that area.
Right. Because
he has these women that's like, yeah. And he's like, yes, I'm hitting it. Yes. I'm hitting it deep from the side.
Oh, bloody hell.
Oh my God, I just want to imagine this on YouTube.
I'll have to go to X2.
But for real.
Oh my God.
But for real, I'm like, do you think that's how you made her fall in love with you? Do you think that's what she sees in you as your worth? Is the fact that you can do this or that sexually? Like, I mean, that's not saying a lot about you, if you're just like, oh, I'm this, great sexual person, that can do these things. I mean, that's where your value lies. Like, come on.
Yes.
I'm having a hard time with that description. Great sexual person.
I'm trying to not be crude,
We're past that,
I'm trying to be like,
we're way past that.
Be honest.
Be honest. Okay. I mean, he is trying to classify himself as like some kind of porn star, some kind of amazing lover. And I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Because if you were so amazing, you wouldn't have the time to pull 8 women. No joke.
No.
If you were like, if you were so good, my attitude is like, you ain't going nowhere. Where you going?
Right.
No, stay here. And you're like, damn, can I breathe? Can I go to work? Well, I'll pick you up from work.
Yes, sir. No. Yes.
Come on now. You don't have the time realistically if you're laying it down like that. I'm just sorry.
No,
it's proof. The proof. The number of women. That's the proof.
I'm laughing so hard because I've heard those exact lines before.
Okay.
And it's just like, really? Like that?
Like that. Yes. It's like that. Like if you're that obsessed with the person, the sex is that great. You are not giving them any opportunity to meet anybody else.
No, yeah.
It's just not happening.
Yeah.
If they need something, you're going to be there to give it to them.
100%.
So what's
You
this?
need your bathwater ran.
Right.
No, that's where the $500 come into play.
Oh, man.
See, now I have to know who this person is. We're going to have a conversation.
No, but
I know who's worth $500.
I do.
I'll tell you.
I agree with you. I do think all of those things, but it also even, this is where it's like a number of questions. Like, what makes you feel like such a catch? Like, really, that's the biggest question. What makes you such a catch? And it's straightforward answers, right? And I think that there's even a difference in how people respond to that. Cause I think I can ask any of you all here and it can take you some time. I'm even thinking in my head, what would I respond to that? Right. But there's still a way of how you carry yourself, because I also think that if you are good at sex, you know what you're not doing? You're not walking around and being like, I'm slinging this dick. What's up? Like, you're not going.
You don't have time to because you're too busy having sex.
Right. But you also don't need to, right? Because
your mouth is preoccupied.
Yeah, but
other people will see your praises.
Right. Yeah. You don't have to speak for yourself because other people would be speaking up on your behalf.
Yes.
Oh, you have people sneaking up by your desk, just walking by for no good reason.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's literally a thing of, there's just no need for you to try to echo this. It's like you're screaming so loud because it's trash and you're trying to make yourself believe that it's good, because the more that I look in the mirror and it's like, you gave that to her last night, is going to make you really feel like you gave it to her last night.
Right. You wouldn't be seeking validation from other people. You've been validated. You understand what you've done. He talked about that woman that approached him at the very beginning, and he didn't seem to really respect her.
I was loading groceries in my truck, and she already put her groceries in the car, and she just drove over, and she said, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "I'm doing well." She was like, "Just let you know, you're a very handsome young man." I said, "Well, thank you." She was like, "I know this may sound a little weird, but I was talking to my sister, and she indicated like I needed to just go out and just meet people and be a little more forward." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, you should." I said, "If you feel like that was something that was holding you back in life, I'm like, go ahead and, speak up." She's like, "So I'm going to ask you your phone number." And maybe we can get together and have a drink or so. And I was a little surprised by it, but I appreciate her courage. So I gave her my number.
Okay.
So I gave her my number. I said, "Hey, here's my number." And so she called me and we spoke, but I kept it very brief.
Mm-hmm. You weren't interested.
I knew I wasn't interested from the jump.
Okay. Why?
Because I'm a fuckboy.
I don't know. He didn't give me the vibe that he was flattered by her attention. He just kind of was like, "Yeah, I got women approaching me like this all the time."
Yeah.
And it's almost like,
what did you picture this woman to look like?
What's funny is I didn't even go there.
pictured church lady.
You know what?
Wow. No, I didn't.
Well, let me give you a little insight on that. So the reason why I wanted to start with that little story is because that little story is the story that he told when I was in the vicinity where that conversation was being had with other people. And that's what really gave me the idea for the episode, is because I was hearing them talk, and the questions some of the other people in the room were asking him, these were other dudes, they were asking him, well, was she a 5, or was she a 6? Was she a 7? And one dude was like, he was like, nah, I don't know if I would class her that high. And then one dude was like, well, I don't even see below a 5, so.
No, but so
They're just invisible to him?
Right.
Okay.
No, so I'm going to be honest with you. I visualize. So I'm really good. Like when people tell me stories, I try to visualize. Like I visualized this whole conversation on how this played out, which was why I had already assumed what race, the demographics and all of that. I was like, this woman that approached him, grandma, she looked like she came from church.
Yeah, because if her friends are giving her lame ass advice, like just go up to him and tell him how you feel. Really?
She just came.
Who are her friends?
Well, she's a widower. Was how I pictured it. She was a widower, which is why she's grandma.
She's mature.
Yes, and she's smooth.
And he said she was mature.
Yes, respectfully.
No, that doesn't mean she can't be pretty.
No,
right?
It's not that.
But I'm sorry, but if she's older and gorgeous, she's not walking up to random young men.
Exactly. So again, grandma came up. This the grocery store parking lot she pulled up in. Yeah, It was after church, and she was stopping to get the snacks.
Oh.
And that's where she was just like, she was walking and she said, "You know what? My friend said to do this," and turned back around and approached her.
Exactly.
She was not giving no looking eyes or nothing.
Excuse me, young man.
Exactly. She was not giving any sort of looking eyes, which was part of the reason why the way that he even said the story was in that manner. It wasn't anyone that was, cause hell, let me give an older woman as an example. If that was Angela Bassett, there's no way he's,
I know for a fact that he was showing skin. I know for a fact. For her to get all crazy googly eyed, I know that he was like sweaty in his gym clothes, and she was like,
Right.
Oh my God.
Which was why I was
you
after church.
sexualizing a Jew straight out of the gym? Come on, grandma. I already know. I know what she looked like, so it doesn't matter.
Did he ever actually say,
Well, he just said that she wasn't that high on the roster.
Oh, she wasn't that high.
On the number scale.
And she was clearly under a 5 because somebody asked the 5 and he said he wouldn't go that high.
Right.
But why even tell us about her?
Because
just to
of
tell
his
us that,
ego.
yes, okay.
So come on.
But I'm just saying, like, you don't be like, oh, okay, this ugly person approached me. We always get ugly people approaching us, so you don't even want a cookie?
Not everyone does. Not everyone does.
But she said, you want a cookie? But that's what it goes back to that, right? It is, I have to make these statements because I have to make myself feel better. Because somebody that gets hit on even often is not going to be like, this person hit on me. Like,
you're not going to denigrate them and talk about, well, they were ugly. Well, maybe you would, but I'm like,
I'm sure he had conversations with her. And I'm sure he was like, this is going to stroke my ego. But grandma hit him with the grandma game. And he was like, that's too much for me.
Grandma hit him like, come over after church. And she said, I can take these teeth out. And he was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Maybe I can, but no. Somebody might see me on the Ring doorbell. I can't do it. But I was like, you gave her your number though. So
right.
You obviously knew that you were going to use her for something. Right? And I'm like, even if you made up in your mind, I'm going to use her, that means you are willing to sell yourself for something. But just to get,
But yes, so even for all of that, like, all of that to me it just goes to show, like, there's something that is missing within yourself. Right? Because even if we want to say that you're a fuckboy and you're fucking with all of these different people, like, there has to be some sort of standard in that. And if the standard is nothing, there is more that's missing within you.
Yeah, I don't know if the standard has to be high at all. I really do feel like it really is the whole stroking the ego thing. Like, you don't need a standard for that. You just need volume, the number, right? And sometimes quality works, right? But it doesn't always have to be, because you don't have to go on dates with everyone. You just have to be juggling them.
Mm-hmm. But you must be extremely, extremely, extremely attractive for people to keep wanting to be with you when they know that you're promiscuous. If they know that you've got 8 people or whatever and they still want to be with you, great. That's their decision, but let's be real. You have to be extremely good looking in order to make that happen, or extremely rich, whatever, to make that happen. I just outside of lies and trickery.
I think he is in a city that allows him a lot of opportunity.
Yes, because to be real, there's not a large amount of men that are decent, or I don't know, look good on paper, whatever, for a woman to, so when you meet someone and he's a good guy, then you're willing to explore and give grace to him for his bullshit. Where in other places where you may be in high demand and you're not like fighting 10 other women for a good guy, you may be like, I'm not putting up with this.
No, for sure. I think I think personally he won't move from here, because if he wants to continue down this path, this is the best place to be.
Right.
There are so many women here.
Yeah, but just like there's an influx of women, there's an influx of men too.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So you're going to get competition, dude.
Demographics wise, though, there is a butt ton of women here. Like, honestly, there is just so much women in the city of Atlanta, and even right outside of the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, but he's thinking like desperation will get him his throuple, and it's not going to. It's not going to happen. They're going to get. He's not a rabbit, and then they're going to get a cat. And then they're going to be okay.
Well, he's not going to get a throuple because he doesn't have the confidence for a throuple. I'm just going to be realistic in that sense. He won't get a throuple because he doesn't have the confidence for it. The only way I could see him potentially getting a throuple is if he dates college girls and he got a girl and her friend. No, but seriously. Like, I
not
don't.
even because of pedophile.
No, I
That's
don't
what I'm
mean
saying. Like, he's gonna, like, as he ages, he's gonna have to keep going lower and lower and lower because the women that are going to put up with this will have to be younger and dumber.
But the way he wants to carry himself, he has to have more confidence in the situations or the positions that he foresees himself in. It's just not going to work with what he is coming with, truthfully and honestly. I don't believe it.
But I want to know, like, if you met someone and they were like, yeah, I'm a fuck boy, I'm a fuck girl or whatever, like, do you think, like, okay, I cannot trust this person? Or do you just label that as like, that's just your sexual activity? I don't really care.
I think that's an interesting thing because for me, the thing about having honesty up front, that's enough for me. Right? Like, I'm respectful of what that means, and I create my own boundaries of how I deal with that person. It's not that I don't trust them or whatever, but it means that our interactions are going to be limited to whatever that space is that's open for them.
Because if they're walking around telling people that if to deal with me, you gotta, let me hold something. Like, what,
that person would have been gone.
For sure. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But that's also because I have accountability for what that is for me. Right. However, if it's just a random fuckboy, I'd be like, am I interested? I might do that, but there wouldn't be
looking enough.
But there wouldn't be anything else because I know where my boundaries are. Right. There wouldn't be no dates.
Right.
We might have a conversation.
But it seems like this person is looking for dates as well. He's looking to take these people places where, they would project an image for himself.
Yeah. I mean, I can see value in that. I feel like, we're talking about, people having their own responsibility. I firmly believe that if whenever I interact with anybody, it's my job to figure out what space they're in, right? And make decisions accordingly, right? I don't think I've ever been starstruck enough that I'm making stupid decisions, not counting my twats.
To answer the question, I don't think I can't even imagine someone like tell me you're a fuck girl or something like. That's childish. You cannot come to me and tell me I'm a bad person, by the way. Like, what do you mean? Like, why would you go around? That's why I was surprised. Like, said someone came on record to say, hey, I'm a fuckboy and here's why. Because I don't understand.
Well, that's why I said it was like a badge of honor.
Yeah, it happens.
For him, but he's thinking the world is walking around thinking all positive things about fuckboys.
Because he's a nice fuckboy.
You can have sex. You don't have to tell me that. I don't understand. Like, is this a warning?
You don't have to tell me how much sex you're having.
Should I be impressed? Like, what's going on here?
But we're back to the whole self-esteem thing, right? There's still the need for oh yeah, you are? How many do you get in a week? There's a need for that.
That's why I was wondering about the community. Is there a community around that? You know what I'm saying?
No, but I'm sure that there are a group of friends that sit here and are like, oh yeah, I bagged this one and I did this, and that. So it makes it more of a, I'm not as bad as them, right? Cause I think, I promise you in his head, he feels like he's not that bad of a guy because he's not doing things like telling somebody, you got to pay me $500 to even allow me to play this game with you, right? So I think that there is that community, and this is why I have to hit these numbers. That's the reason why I have to do this shuffle, because we're in this game and I want to come off like I'm at the top of
Something tells me he's not asking for money because he knows these girls like order fish fillet. You know what I mean? Like, something tells me he just know he couldn't even pull $500. So, wow.
Well, I mean, I would challenge, and not to say specifically this person, but I would challenge that if you felt like you were that good of a fuckboy, you could get $500 out of somebody that even ordered off of the dollar menu.
I mean, that literally happened, right? Like, wait, the guy who got $500, is he that much better? Like, in terms of, like, is he that much more capable? I don't.
No, but respectfully, if you're right. If you had it in you,
yes,
you could.
True.
Yes. So I wanted to go back to your statement about community and stuff, because I feel like one thing that we kind of glossed over that really hit me hard was that there was a group of guys sitting around rating women. That always bothers me because it tells me that there's a certain arrogance there as well. And that whole idea of that being something that bonds you with other people is bothersome to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And he had said in the episode that he don't roll like that in regards to the community question. He don't roll with, dudes who kind of go back and compare notes because of his caution with the, you gotta be careful with that because you might be somebody that they don't want you running your game on, and they might go back and air your game out to that particular person.
I think it goes back to you want to be the best that you can be. So there can't be full on competition.
Right.
Well, I think that there's just different versions, and he realizes that kind of dude would not attract or pull the women that he's going for.
No, but if that's the case, then you would have no worries about them wanting the women that you want.
True.
Yeah. I think it's more so a thing of while you want to say, like, I bagged this number, you don't want to be challenged by somebody else because you may not feel secure enough in this challenge.
Right.
Which goes back to we can't be poly because you can't have no other dude, because really, I don't want any other dude to be better than me. Mm-hmm. I need to be the best that you have.
So I remembered what I was going to ask because a couple people who listen had asked me about what I thought about this. So I'm going to ask you guys what you think about it. And the question was somewhere along the line of when we got to the conversation about where he was talking about heteroflexible or white people being more heteroflexible, and then how white women have the expectation of the BBC, etc. And then he kind of slipped in the comment about white men liking it too. And people were asking me about that. We're like, well, where did that come from? And the question is, I wonder now, in listening to it, because we're talking a lot about the stroking of egos. And I wonder if that came from, I get my ego stroked from white men too, whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes that plays out you're in the sauna with whatever you don't have on, and who are in there, fat white men.
Yeah. I mean, I
I'm just saying.
I do think that, again, I do think that in coming to the ego and having these things, I do think that, again, it goes back to there are certain demographics because this is what makes it easier for you to present certain things, and you don't have to present a lot, right? So if your poi is a BBC because it's a white woman and she doesn't get that, or it's an Asian woman and she doesn't get that, like, that's all you feel like you have to come with. You don't have to do any other moves. All you have to do is show this off and I'm good. I'm in there. Right.
Well, it's just also stereotypical. Like his perception of white women, that they're more sexually adventurous or whatever. They're more prone to polygamy because that's what you see in the media. You don't even know what the women are like who participate in that.
Well, you don't know why? Because you're not having conversations with them.
Right. You're not having conversations with these women that actually practice this stuff. You're just looking at media and thinking that's the kind of woman that practices this stuff. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No.
So you don't have any like real context for like what you think women enjoy, what you think women want. They're walking up to you and telling you, I want a BBC. Okay.
Well, to go a little further down that rabbit hole, so that question led to a side conversation about this amateur guy. He does an OnlyFans page, and he's purporting to be straight.
Oh, the gay for pay.
Well, I'm gonna just tell it, and you tell me what you think of it, right? One of the things he loves to do in his videos is he loves to go into to the gym and in the sauna, and he's exposing a lot more than you're supposed to.
Okay,
in those circles, and so he'll go into the sauna and he'll be like he'll take off his put his towel aside and the dick is over there, and he'll say to the other dude, you don't mind, do you? So it's almost like he's asking
them if they don't mind that his dick is hanging out over here, but also to draw their attention to it, right? And so
What's his name? Let me Google.
for research purposes.
She said for research, I have to see, does this stack up? And honest to God. So I guess I have a stupid question, because what classifies a dick to be a BBC? Like what, what is it to be like, you know what? Now that's a big one.
Calvin, what do you think the answer to that is?
Because he wants to put me on the spot and embarrass me. Because I'm over here doing this.
I'm not in here. I'm outside.
What is going on outside this window right here? I don't know. No, I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there are far too many people who think they're in that category.
Right.
Let me think of what my answer to that would be. I would say probably past 8 inches, but not just the length. It has to be something with the girth as well. What pisses me off about these numbers that dudes throw out is that when you have to ask where they're measuring from, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, because they're measuring not from the underside, but from the upper side, where they can go straight to the abdomen.
They trying to as much as they can. They said, wait, hold on.
Disregard the scrotum. I'm just gonna okay, right here.
Right. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because that does not seem to measure up to 10 inches.
I don't have straight sex, right? So maybe I'm out of scope on this, but I still just think you have but so much space on the inside of you, period, to take but so much. Mm-hmm. Why the hell do you want some donkey or elephant size thing coming your way?
Again, UTIs are a real thing. I'm not throwing big dick men under the bus. I'm just saying, it's a problem. For real. Nobody wants all that. I don't want my guts rearranged. I want to have fun.
That's what I'm trying to say. As a whole, I get it. It's like, hey, yeah, you want it big, but I'm like, do you really?
I mean, truly large men are respectful of their partners.
Okay.
They understand that this is not. I don't even want to look. Don't come here.
I have a challenge. It's because I do not think that most men are respectful of their partners. Right. And I am generalizing there because I feel like men
are selfish?
Yes, they tend to want to get what they want, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like when you get somebody who is respectful of you, that is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm not.
But I think that they will be that way if they want to continue with you.
Perhaps, yes. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's a good statement. But out of the box, I think people are trying to get what they can get.
You're right.
So, and I think to going back to where we were going was that the whole thing is about this ego trip, right? So you in there in this environment, and it's not about whether these other dudes in here are straight or not. You're drawing from their attention, right? So when the video that I was referencing, the white guys in there, they were like, no, we're not bothered by it. And then one dude in particular, who he was going back and forth in conversation with him, he said, he was like, bro, what size is that? And he's like, oh, it's about 11. It's about 11 or so. And he's like, well, your lady must really like that. And he's like, she enjoys it. And so they start this dialogue. And then probably about 2 minutes into the dialogue, the dude says, you mind if I touch it? Ooh. You mind if I touch it? And he's like, nah.
Fake.
Nah.
Fake.
He said, nah, I don't really touch it. I don't want you to touch it, but you're
swinging it for the whole world to see.
Well, he said you could watch it though. He said,
you can watch it. So I make it grow for you.
That's exactly what he did. That's exactly what he did. He was like, as he starts playing with it, he says, you could watch it. And so I'm thinking to myself, oh, so his whole thing is getting his ego stroked and getting this attention. And that is what his turn on is.
Right.
He don't want him to touch him. He just wants him to watch it. And he wants to be watched playing with it. Playing with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've said that a lot in the past too, is that a lot of people, it's not even about being sexual. It is about just the ego. It's really just about, I need this dopamine rush.
Yep.
Right.
But I think that there's some people who are just really sexual. They really enjoy it and will do what they need to do to get more of it.
Yeah. No,
you know,
I think
and they
you're right.
don't have that attitude of like, let me be selfish. You know, they were like, no, I want more of it from you and more of it from you and more of it from you. You know what I mean? Like they just have like this attitude. Like,
Attention whore.
yes. Well, not even that. Maybe sex addiction. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay.
Or if it's not sex, addiction to sexual attention.
I don't know. I'm was thinking about your comment earlier about people being respectful, and I'm just like, I feel like
No, I'm saying like big dick man though.
I think that there's I think that there's a journey there for many of them.
Not everybody, just big dick man.
That journey.
Well, I'm just saying, like, when you pull out the thing, and I'm like, you're gonna respect me, right?
You have to ask first. That is a problem.
No, she's like, well, you have to ask because if they're gonna be like slinging that, you're gonna be like, okay, I need to know the ground rules. We need to be like, okay.
Sir, pineapples with peaches.
Oh my God.
Because I mean, like, don't waste my time. Like, I think that they realize what they're working with and not everybody can handle it. So I'm just like, they have to understand that.
This really is a rabbit hole.
Why doesn't
Well, he would have brought up BBCs. Like, nobody needed to know all that, but he felt the need to share. So that's why we're discussing it.
Well, I don't have anything else.
There's somebody out there that's going to love you and enjoy you 100% for who you are, right? And once you can understand, like, somebody out there loves me for me, right? You're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And it's more than one person, honestly, because you're going to find somebody that like you, that you like, that's not my type, but you'll find other people that would be your type and is also going to care for you and want you how you are.
We should have given Grandma a chance.
He probably would have had the best sexual experience.
Split those stitches out of
Right. She'd have
showed him a whole new world.
Let me tell you something. And he could have been good with a retirement plan.
No.
Okay.
And that's
Okay.
Missing out on his blessing.
He could have got handicapped parking for life.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We'll just turn that down. Like,
She
for
probably got a
real.
nice house.
Exactly.
AARP has real discounts.
Okay. Yeah.
She's been taking him on trips.
Exactly.
Listen, cruises.
So going back to what you said about confidence, I think sometimes when people have low confidence, you don't need to verbalize it to your partner or to somebody you're trying to get to know, because that is a turnoff. And you're telling them that you have no confidence every single time you meet them or every situation. That's not an attractive quality to have. So you can fake it as you go, right? Until you make it, but don't verbalize it every single time.
Yeah, he's walking around thinking he's God's gift, but I'm like, go international with that and see how well you
But
do.
he's God's gift based on these assumptions that he has. So again, that's why we keep saying this chameleon, and that's why you shapeshift, right? Because you're trying to fit this mold. But if you were, you would be quote unquote the mold, right? There would be nothing to have to fit yourself into. You would be it.
You've made it to the end. I think you found your show, and with that, a community that will take you to places few others will go. What you discovered, what many others will know, is that the Poet God podcast is the very exemplification of artistry in audio.